Welcome back to Film-Studio-Taku-in-Japan. Today I am going through sort of a last set here from this Shichigo-san photo session, which I did this last, actually 2 years ago now. Amazing. But anyways, I've told this story before. Basically, the girl who's wearing the kimono is also my student now, and so I've had the luxury. The mother's been extremely patient and understanding that for me it's more about the art than the actual, I guess, getting paid is the lack of better words. But of course I want to get paid, and I have been. But yeah, So yeah, basically what's happening here is. This has been an ongoing project. Most recently, I just finished making a 20-page book for this portrait session, and the final delivery is actually of the files, roughly 50 or so files. Actually, she's going to be getting some extra files. But basically, I had about 40 of the top-notch files, which I actually fairly heavily edited, which is not usual. When you deliver, you pretty much deliver very basic JPEGs with maybe a slight color grade on them. But it was just the way it was. I already managed to edit a lot of files for the book, choosing which ones were the best and such. I really had to see the actual visual of what they were going to look like to really decide which ones were the best. And then I end up with these extra files that are great, I would say, memory type photos. But for, various reasons, they didn't make it in the book. This one's adorable here. They both, got these little strawberry cracker treats, But here we have behind them these nice European tourists who had actually just before this, or possibly just after this, I think it was just before this, had asked if it was okay to take photos, and the mother approved. So, it was pretty funny. This girl here had like 20 tourists in a half circle around her just taking photos, and she did great. I mean, but obviously it was a little off-putting for her. She was a little bit surprised, I think, just how much attention she got here. And generally speaking, this place at this time didn't have a lot of, you see most of the faces are Asian faces, but whatever, it is what it was. But and the other biggest problem I was having with most of these shots, as you'll see, is most of them are in very bright, full sun, and that was the biggest issue, honestly. You just don't get the nice contrast that you do with the other images. These have all been worked now slightly. I didn't go overboard and kill myself on this, because the bottom line is they're nice, and I have to deliver these, and yeah. But it also lets her see these photos, and if she ever, in the future, if there's a specific photo that she really likes or wants printed or something like that, then I'm more than happy to go a little bit deeper and try and pull a little bit more out of the photos. So anyways, what we're doing though today, probably should have said this off the get-go, is we're going to actually take, so these are actually what's being delivered to her, as is, but I actually want to see how much further I can go, creating kind of vintage look, which, you can see. Let's do this real quick. Oh, you know what? Not this set. There's another set I did, which was kind of more vintage vibe. A little bit going on here, but not much. But what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to choose this one first, which is, again, it's not a bad picture. She's sitting on this little bamboo bridge with a stone wall. This is actually another bridge, and she's actually probably sitting on the stone wall. This thing is probably behind her, and then there's a koi pond below here with a brick wall on the other side. It's a cool image. She's, I believe, eating some onigiri, like rice ball or something like that. So she's really just, she's relaxing, but not necessarily the most photogenic expression is what I want to say. But it's a nice photo, and it's got a lot of things going on for it. Oops. Not the best framing, but what I'm going to do here, have I not said it yet? I'm going to take this into Dehancer. That's the bottom line. Dehancer, if you don't know, is a really cool plugin for Lightroom or Capture One or several other programs, I believe. Let's just open it up here. And I've sort of explained in the past, but basically the idea is to de-enhance your photos and make them look more like vintage film. But as I also have said in the past, you actually can pull out all the detail that is there in the photos. It's the presets that are kind of de-enhanced a little bit, but not really in some cases. Some cases I would say they're enhanced. But anyways, the color is definitely enhanced. The pop factor is definitely enhanced. I mean, they did a remarkable job of making this film looks. You can say film simulations, whatever you want, but Dehancer, hands down, I've not seen a better plugin or even a program that is able to do what Dehancer does. And I feel kind of bad because they gave me the program for Capture One and for DaVinci Resolve. Oh, I don't know, a good 6 months ago at least. And I did 1 or 2 initial videos for them, but I've been so focused on this project as well as some other projects. And though I've been playing with Dehancer, I usually just don't dive in and do a video on it. And a lot of that is audio issues, which I've actually solved here. How is my audio, right? It's pretty good. But it's because I'm using my external recorder with a very good lav mic, which means I have to sync it, but it's really not difficult. I just got over it. I said, you know what? I'm just going to do it. And you may hear like a glitch or two, and that's because I set the settings in the Tascam, which is actually that's the external recorder that the mic is going through, to basically auto level and stuff like that, which I usually don't do. I usually clean it up in post. But you know what? That's the biggest issue. This is why I'm actually now more into doing this. I did another video just the other day, but is because this is good enough. And even if it glitches once or twice, this is really good and better than most audio I think out there. Definitely better than the audio I've been doing with my little webcam lately because I was being too lazy to deal with this. So no more of that. So diving in here. So this is just one of the looks. This is the original. This is the last one I did, which is Fujicolor C200. We can do before and after here with a little eyeball up here. But I'm just going to flip through, kind of similar as I've done before, but with a goal here. We're going to flip through each of these, and there's a lot of them, each of these films. You can see it actually has the film name next to it. And what I'm looking for, this one obviously has a lot of grain applied. What I'm looking for is 3 that I'm going to edit here. This video may be a little bit long. You may want to pause and get a cup of coffee or your beverage of choice. What I'm going to do is look for 1 black and white. I kind of already know which one I'm going to do there. 1 more or less standard color. This would sort of be in that category where it's not crazy different from what the actual color is. And then we're going to do something like this. This may even be the one where we're going to, you know what? I think we're going to do 4 actually, excuse me, because I want to do one like this that's going to be, it's got this vintage kind of where it brings the blues into just a different realm of kind of like turquoise almost. It doesn't necessarily have to be that one, but we'll see. And then also we're going to do, I'll show you, we got a surprise coming here. Dehancer, I'll say it again, you need a scroll wheel, right? You need a little scroll bar. That is the biggest thing missing from Dehancer is a scroll bar right here because they do have so many. And even just if I'm going one by one, my mouse wheel is wonky lately. I don't know what it is. I need to go in there and change some settings. Here is the surprise. We're going to do 1 Lomochrome, okay? And we may start with that, but let's go down. This is another potential one for this unique look, we'll call it. This one too, but this is a little bit closer to reality. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is the one I chose for black and white. The reason I chose it, I'm not saying all the names today, by the way, because I always butcher them. But I kind of like it. It's almost got like a negative effect, and I really like that recently. I've been kind of enjoying that. kind of effect. So I'm not ready to do a infrared conversion on my GFX camera, but although I wouldn't put it past future me, because I will eventually get a second GFX camera. I was, you know, never does what I say guarantee that I won't do that, but I don't think I will ever sell the one I have. I think what I'll probably do is keep my 100S and just keep it going, repair it as needed, and just get probably like a 102 or something in the future when the prices drop dramatically, because I am not a rich guy. Maybe in the near future, maybe when my super awesome photography skills are fully recognized on an international level. Working on that. I'm working on that. But anyways, so yeah, but I thought about that. That might be interesting to do, is convert a GFX to full spectrum or infrared. I don't think there's many of those out there, but yeah. So let's dive into, you know what, I think we'll dive into that black and white one first. I think it's this one here. Let me double check. Was there another one up that was brighter? No, I do think that one, or which was it? I think it's that one. Yeah, it's that one. Okay, so we're gonna dive into this as I double check in case I made a mistake. No, I do like the slight increase in contrast on that one. We'll go with what I said. So we're going with the, oh, it's not that one because there's a roll. I know it was a roll. Is that how you say it? Ooh, where did you go? Ilford HP plus, HPS plus. There it is. That's the one. Okay, so what we're gonna do here, and full disclosure, I almost expect to end up with blown out highlights. This program, as long as I've had it, I still am working it out. And yeah, it's a learning curve, a big one, but one I highly recommend taking on because the potential is amazing. Like I have to, okay, because I want to help this company. I think I'm sure they're doing fine by now. I'd imagine that people have caught on to how good this program is, but if not, they fully deserve it, and I feel obligated to kind of get the word of mouth out there. But honestly, as a photographer who's always trying to stand above the crowd, because there is competition, obviously, part of me just doesn't want to share this because I love that I can create these looks that basically no one else can if they don't have this program. I know that sounds like a glowing promotion, and I guess I am. You know what? I think I am affiliate. I was just gonna say I don't think I'm an affiliate, but actually I think they gave me an affiliate code. So look below. There very well may be an affiliate link below here. We're just going through the different film profiles here. Probably gonna keep it on. Are we on linear? I thought we were on to it. Yeah, we were on linear. Okay, we'll keep it there. Not quite the look I am intending or envisioning here, but I like the look. Actually, I like going a little bit more of the contrast there. That looks really good. Color density. There is no color, but let's see what. Oh, there is. Oh, there. See. Yeah, we're almost getting into that. Fine line between blown out and infrared simulation. You know, the doctor lies. I think we're gonna back arrow actually until we get back out of when I started messing with the color. Okay. We'll actually leave the tonal contrast. Oh no, that's right. We liked it right there. Yes, I referred myself as we. What are you gonna do about it? Okay, so, and then what I normally would do in any editing program, unless I'm just completely blown away and satisfied, I generally will go back through and just hit everything again. And this time I am going to throw caution to the wind with the highlights. I'll try to get them back lower down here. So much you can do here. I mean, like, all these little tweaks. Like, sometimes I like when I do the black one, I'm like, oh, that's got such a nice vintage film look, you know? It's just, whatever they're doing it right. I don't know how else to say it because I don't understand how it's working. I know from Capture One, I know from Darktable, I know from Photo Ninja, I know from all kinds of programs I've used over the years that just this black point compared to other black points, when I go back on it, it just has more of a film look. It brings more air into the image, where like normally when you go backwards on the black point, I mean, it's more like this, where this still, though, I still see it, but you know, it goes too far really quickly, and it just looks hazy really quickly, where yes, I'm introducing haze, but I don't know if you can see this on YouTube, you know, degradation, I'm gonna call it. But there's just the air in this image when I do this. It's not what I'm going for right now, but it legit looks like film. Like the way that film would look when you overexpose slightly, or I guess adjust the black point, however they do that. I've never developed film myself, and I would like to. I'm actually gonna try to take a class in the near future. But anyways, yeah, target white. Let's see if we can get that white down. Maybe not. Oh, Oh, it's because we're in linear. Maybe a reason that we should be back in here, but maybe not. No, I think we're past the point of no return in that regard. Yeah, we're getting back out of that. There we go. Okay, so contrast boost. White point is the only possible savior here for those highlights. It's not true, but it's not bad. I mean, it doesn't have to be. That's a good exposure. I do like it, though, just a little bit more overexposed for some reason. I think it just matches the vibe of a, you know, generally speaking, a lot of vintage photos were overexposed. It's not actually so much because of the technology, I think. It's because of user error, because you had a lot less chances to get it right. And if you ended up with this photo, it was good enough. This is just my guess, okay? 80-year-old cameraman, let me know. Is that true? Is that why vintage photos often have blown out highlights? I know not all of them, okay? I know Ansel Adams had it pretty much down to well, literally down to an art, actually. Anyways, I think we're going to call this one good for now, okay? So that's number one. And what we're going to do is we're going to, okay. And this is, I'll keep mentioning these until Dehancer comes with some solutions for these, okay? The biggest one is this lack of a slider down here. They should have one here, but this one's more important. The other one is, what would be really, really, really nice is if you could be like, click this as Q for export, and then you have it up here or something, and then you work on whatever you're going to work on next. And however many is the maximum that your computer maybe can handle, or the software. I don't know where the bottleneck would be, but because what happens in Dehancer, I click OK because this is a plugin. You'll see it's just going to go OK, and it's going to put it right here, or possibly at the bottom here. But then I can open another one and go back in, and it's going to save whatever the last settings I was working on. That's going to be what is there. Where did you put it? Still coming, I'm guessing. And that's, you know, maybe it's because it's such a heavy program, but regardless, it'd be so nice just to be able to do 3 at a time. I mean, ideally, you know, do 20 at a time or more, or a whole entire, you know, set. But to do 1 at a time, like I would rather, let's just say this is going to take 20 minutes. It's not. It usually takes a minute or 2. This one seems to be taking longer, or I just, oh, you know what it is? No, it's not. Here's what it is. I have always hide JPEG on it. It's a JPEG. Should be a JPEG. JPEG or TIFF? Where are you? There you are. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so there's the image. What's great, I mean, obviously, because it's a plugin, you can now you know, this is where it would make sense to go darker and keep your highlights, because then you can play with it more. But anyways, that's the beauty, though, is you can do your look there in Dehancer and then come back in to Capture One, and anything that you couldn't do there, fix. Yeah, but I like this. I really do like this image. And just to show you, the detail is still there. But it's the grain, I like it, honestly. You can add it, you can take it up, put it back on. My brain is going faster than my mouth is capable of. Okay, so now we are going to stay with that same picture. There's so many others I'm tempted to just dive into, but we're going to stay with that same picture, okay? And we're going to, one more time, we're going to go back into Edit with Dehancer. And this time I'm doing, if you watch my other videos on it, you know, sometimes it gets really sluggish. Usually, if I'm just doing this without recording on OBS, I'm doing TIFFs. But if I'm doing it with OBS, I've been doing just regular JPEGs. But this JPEG Quick Proof, I just noticed today, I don't know if that might be a new function because I just updated it. But either way, I've noticed that there's no sluggishness that I've been dealing with in the past, no stickiness. So that's cool. So now let's tackle, actually, you know what? Do we want to, it's a good vintage one. Should we do the vintage one now? In case I lose my motivation and I just say, let's do 2 or 3 instead of 4. Well, you know, here we are on Loma Purple, so we might as well. That already looks good, honestly, but we're gonna play with it just for your guys' sake, okay? Other thing I will keep repeating is give me a right click like Darktable has, where it opens up something that looks like a curve that you can play with. You can, you know, if I extend this outwards too, you can make that curve really big, so you can do extremely fine adjustments. That's grabbing the whole picture right now. Extremely fine adjustments to these rather than just like this with the mouse. Really, really love that about Darktable. So I'll just say, as far as the, you know, Lomochrome Purple, this looks right, okay? But I'm gonna try to get a little bit more light in her face. Just a little bit. Might play with the color a little bit, yeah. Where sometimes you just gotta trust the Dehancer team, but I do like to play around and do my own versions. It's a little bit far into the green, but I kind of like it. For now, let's keep it there. Okay, film developer, contrast boost, let's take that down a little bit. Up looks more, again, like real Lomochrome, but the goal is here. So I'm just gonna, I kind of want to, after this, I mean, the main point of this video is just to do some more videos. I'm gonna do more in the future too with Dehancer, because I genuinely like the program. Yes, I feel a little bit like I owe them more than what I've given them as far as content for their, you know, obviously they gave me the programs because they want content, but obviously I did give them content. I'm not obligated, but that's what, I guess what I'm saying is that I'm doing this because I want to help them, but also because I really like this program. I know I said it already, but whatever. You know, the best thing about having this mic on the auto level is because I do that. Like, the more I talk, I start to talk lower and lower and lower. And you probably can't even tell right now that I'm getting quieter and quieter because it does auto level so well most of the time. Okay, target white. And you'll see too, like these change depending on each one of these. Like there is a preset for all this stuff I mean, this is the recipe, if you will, all this stuff over here. But you can start to play with the recipe and make your own. And you can save them up here. Create a new one when you're ready. And I've done that with quite a few. But I think it's always good. Like, you can create a whole bunch of your own recipes and use them a bunch. But I think it's good to always go back to the base Dehancer ones. And they also have the just basic film ones over here. I think we're going to get a little bit more contrast in there now because I really want this to have some shadows in here. Color density, we can go crazy. And again, a lot of Lomochrome, if you look at old photos, they really sometimes like almost black face. Okay. I like that. I still would like to put more shadows in there, but I can always do that later if I really wanted to. Or just do it right there. Or we go the opposite. Give it that air. But no, we really want to... I mean, that looks good, but again, I want to keep a little more light on her face. This will be a silly one we do before and after because it's just so dramatically different. But I really like the colors that you get with Lomochrome, with the kimonos and the blue tones. I mean, in a way, Dehancer almost feels like it's just made for kimono photography because you have so much color going on here, and the colors, just the way that the colors pop when I use Dehancer, it's beyond words. So we're going to call that good because I don't want to make this a super long video, and I like this, and I can rework it in Dehancer. There's not really much blowing out here. I'm okay with it. So, okay. Okay, see that one, yeah, just popped right up. So that was super fast for the record. That's super fast. We are in that JPEG quick proof again, though. But the quality is fine because, yeah, I mean, I can't send her 500 megabyte files or 200 megabyte files, whatever these would be if they're full JPEGs. So I guess that's TIFFs, but anyways, Dehancer. One more time, maybe 2 times. Okay, so this time we're gonna look for something vintage. This one definitely sparks the interest, but I think there's a better one somewhere. This one's really good. Oh, it's not bad. I kind of want something between the true color and Lomochrome. I really like that teal effect. Some of these have. This one's cool too. I mean, it's not teal, but I like that. It's, you know, a little too much orange though in the face. It's a little bit weird. Of course, I could adjust that. This one's not bad. Not bad, but no. That one's kind of cool. Again, it's more deep blue than teal, but really I like what it's doing with the shadows here, the potential. When I first entered this, before I started recording for this video, I guess whatever I worked on last and my own adjustments, and it was so nice. Like kind of like this actually, though, where the shadows were just so good on the stonework, but even more so. and I reset it on accident and can't get it back. I mean, it might be one of my presets, but probably not. I kind of like that, but that's not really changing the color much. It's just giving it a nice tonality. What are we gonna do? Let me know in the comments if there are any of these like really you wished I would have worked on. Like, just tell me the name here as I go through them. That one's not bad. I am open to suggestions for future videos if there's a film that you really want to see worked. I mean, the beauty is, though, you really don't have to work this. I mean, I could just export this as is, and that's a great, I mean, again, it just looks like film. You know what? I'm gonna do a little sidetrack here. Just show you, again, showed you in another video, I believe, film grain. Just gonna show you. So one of the things I do in basically any photo, if I'm gonna export it, I didn't check in the Lomochrome actually though, but it's Lomochrome. But anyways, is the film grain. So there's a couple ways I can do this. One is I go here because we're on medium format. So either we're gonna choose 35mm or 65mm, which is bigger than what I got, but still. And then go to the lowest ISO, 50. And what you're gonna do now, you think, oh, the film grain disappeared, but if you get in here, you'll see there is grain, but not quite as much as I would like. You can do a couple different things here. You can go up to ISO 250, and then you start to see the grain more. You can go up to ISO 500. Pretty nice, very film-like grain, but what I actually like to do is I actually like to go to, I'm gonna do this, I always mess this up. There's a way to do this. There's your only slider and it just flips. I get that there's not enough to need, oh, there we go, custom, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, so we can go custom. And now, because I think it did that because we were already in there, but you might have noticed this was up at 48 earlier. But what I do is I take this down to just 1 and the resolution up to 100. Because what that does is it gives you, I believe, finer grain. You tell me what you think. Is it down or up? Maybe. And then what you can do, you can raise the grain if you want. I mean, this is a good way to check now. Resolution down. Yeah. It's actually literally resolution of the image. Okay. So anyways, but I mean, that looks, honestly, if we were to do like that, it's not bad, but no, what I do is I have the size very small, and then I make the amount just to where you start to see it more in the shadows than in the face is what I'm looking for. And I see it right there. You can go all the way down. I mean, you don't really need it, but if you want a little bit of grain in your image, this is the way to do it, in my opinion. And what's awesome, seriously awesome about Dehancer, I always forget until I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's so good, is it has, you can adjust the shadows, midtones, and highlights for the grain, which makes a lot of sense. So that means if I want to clean up her face, see, like, put it there, it's gonna put it on her face. Let me zoom in just in case YouTube compression isn't showing that clearly. So here we go. Let's take the midtones down. So that now that cleaned up her face, right? Highlights down will also clean up anything on the highlights in her face or on her kimono here. See? And then shadows. Now, some may disagree with this, but you know, shadows is where noise tends to hide. But you don't have to, you can kind of embrace that. Like, rather than hide it, be like, okay, there's my noise. So it gives it this vintage look, but it keeps her skin clean. You know, we can even raise the amount in the shadows. It is going to raise in her face too, of course, but not as much as if we were. So now look, if we were to actually bring up the midtones, like the shadows, yeah, it's an amazing amount of grain. So anyways, what it does is it just gives that kind of grainy texture to the shadows, and it can even kind of give more detail effect to certain things. It's all subjective, but yeah. But I'm going to take it down a little bit, not quite as extreme as I did there. Yeah, we'll maybe take it up a little bit in the midtones. And the other thing too is you can take it down in the color, which can be very useful, especially if there's a lot of blue in the shadows. That's a good way to get rid of it in the shadows, because blue is the noisiest channel. Anyways, pretty good though. I like the grain that I'm seeing right now. Whether or not you guys can see that or not, I'm not sure. Okay. Film type positive, negative. I did that before. I don't think we'll actually see it in this case, but I think it just puts the shadows in the opposite, whether if they're in the light, kind of, it puts them in the dark, or vice versa. So, yeah, it can work in certain situations. Analog versus noise. I always choose analog. Why would you choose that digital crap? I don't know if that's what it is, but maybe to simulate something. I can understand that for an official project or something, for media production. So there we go. Not bad, right? You can also do bloom. It's already on there a little bit. Halation, film damage. You know, I'll say this. No, I mean, it's pretty good, but I think the film damage could be a little bit better than it is. But then again, I mean, I'm kind of the mindset, why do I want film damage on my image? So same thing though, as if you're gonna do film damage, I'd recommend basically going into the customs, because you're gonna just get a better look out of it. You can go really extreme with it. Don't know why it chooses to not move that one on her nose. Come on. Nothing I do will remove that one on her nose. That's so weird. I got a 35 millimeter. There we go. Anyways, I mean, it's legit. I think it's legit film damage, though. I think they actually scan real stuff from negatives and put it on there. So probably better than anything else out there. But yeah, I think it's one of those things where film damage is unique to each image, and I think that's probably a very hard one to mimic. That looks not bad there, but anyways, we're not going to use film damage. Overscan is another fun one I showed before. It's really cool. You can play with a lot. I'm not going to, go too deep into that right now. I'll show you again in another video how good you can, what you can create with overscan. What's happening here is it's 1:22 a.m. and I'm running out of steam. Anyways, we didn't even work this one really, did we? Is this one we're going to work? This is probably the one that we're going to call the sort of normal one. And truthfully, I'm just so happy with this one the way it is. So you know what we'll do? That one's okay. We're going to do the last one. I'm going to do the vintage one, okay? Here we go. Should we do another one just to keep it interesting? And the one of them walking away is pretty great. The color on it. There's one that's really sharp. Is it this one? No. Must be that one. You know what? Nah. What should we do? This one's really great. You know what? Let's try this. It's gonna probably overexpose because it's it just is. Let's see how this looks. Okay, so there we go. Okay, let's find a nice super vintage tone. That looks great, actually. Again, it just looks. I don't know how many of you guys really have shot film, like 35 millimeter film, back in the day or recently, but it's just That's that's 35mm film right there. Yes, it's bigger than 35mm film sensor. I get it. Okay, that one's not bad. That one's not bad either. I think because the lighting on these ones, it just doesn't have that same though teal effect. That one kind of does. We might bounce back to the other image. That one does. Let's see what we can do with this one. Basically, all I want to do is boost the color and see what we can get. A little bit of, oh, no, the other way. A little bit of temperature compensation, tint compensation. This time, let's do that. Let's bring in the haze, the breath of life. Yeah, I'm going to just overexpose this one. I kind of like it because it's bringing a lot of light into their eyes. It could really pop the color if we want to. It's not bad. Probably was better before. Something like that. This is one I haven't even played with today, but the color head can do a lot. So yeah, I always steer back to more natural looks, just editing a lot. I'm always looking for natural color, so it's really hard to get away from that sometimes. That looks really good, whether or not it's natural or not. But I like this better. I like it right there. Go up to the top. We'll do one more pass, and then we're going to finish this and call it a day for this. I don't know. I think I'm going to be doing some very interesting Dehancer photos. Maybe some of the snow monkey stuff coming up, or maybe I do have another Kimono session that I am really overdue for going deep into, because I delivered the photos, but I never delivered print, and she's very busy with school. It's actually, so it's not Shichiko-san, it's Seijin Shiki, which is coming age, so it's a 20-year-old woman. And yeah, I think I did a video before on hers, but it's really cool because she's got a black and white kimono essentially, but we're at the ocean, so you have that blue factor. So I'd really like to pop out the ocean. I mean, I've done a lot of edits with her stuff, but a lot of it also had highlight issues because we were doing sunrise and the sun was coming right from behind her in the ocean. Anyways, the bottom line is I would really like to see what I can do with that session with Dehancer. Ooh, that's kind of nice right there, but I think linear is going to be better. Maybe not. Let's see. Did I like that, or do I not like that? That's potentially cute right there. This one's better though. You know what? I like this. It's overexposed in the background. Looks like film. We're calling it good. Boom. So now let's look at our 3 photos. Yes, one is different than the other, or 4 photos. So these are the earlier ones. Black and white, Lomochrome, and whatever this was. And then this one. Yeah, not bad. I think that's it. We're just going to wrap it up right there. Thanks for watching Film Studio Taku Japan, aka filmstudiojapan.com, where I sell prints of Japan, wildlife, cityscapes, and a lot of other stuff that you guys don't even know is hiding in there. There's surfing photos. There should be some bird photos. But I'm going to be rebuilding some galleries that I took down and putting up a lot of new stuff. I have so much stuff, it's ridiculous. I just got to organize it and get it on there. But anyways, thanks again for watching. Have a good one. Peace.